Level Ball is back. Mwah. Gotta catch 'em all, Pokemon fans. Welcome to another PlaySkape Games video. And today we are thrilled to announce that the full set list for Japan's Single Strike Master and Rapid Strike Master, new set in Japan, coming out on January the 22nd, has been revealed. I'm very hyped for this. If you want to pre-order your Single Strike and your Rapid Strike Master booster boxes, we have them on PlaySkapeGames.com. Click the link in the description and, you know, pick them up if you want to get some of these cards yourself. But without further ado, we're going to jump straight into the set list. There's been some amazing reveals, and you know, we're just very hyped to get into this. We're just going to have a look at some of the more interesting cards. And just talk a bit more about the cards which I'm most excited for and the ones that you should look out for in the English version of the set, Battle Styles, which is also available on the website, coming out in March. So if you're hyped for Battle Styles in English, it's also great to look at these cards and, you know, see what's coming out. Without further ado, we'll go through the list. So there is a fun fact. There's actually been a whole bunch of the Single Strike and Rapid Strike Pokemon that aren't actually in the sets that have been on these posters, but I think we are going to get them in the next set, like the subset, the expansion. So that's definitely something to look out for. So let's take a look at some of the cards. So we got a new Cacturn. For 1 energy, switch your opponent's active Pokemon with their bench Pokemon, or for grass colours. If you've got a darkness energy attached to it, you can do 60 plus 70 more. It's a bit niche, but 130 for 2 energy is not bad. You can use a rainbow energy, it's not rainbow energy, and the raw energy to get extra effect if you want. And it's a lovely Komoya artwork, so I need to start a Komoya binder at some point. It's not overly great. This is the one that I'm hyped for. Durant Mill is back, boys and girls. Devour, for each of your Durant in play, discard the top deck of your the top card of your opponent's deck. So for 1 twin energy, you can, if you've got 3 Durant in play, you can discard 3 cards from the deck. If somehow you get 4 in play, you can discard 4 cards from the top of your deck. From the top of your opponent's deck, obviously. So that is very powerful. Durant Mill saw a little bit of play. I think it was like a solid tier 2 deck at a point. When the old Durant was out, I think it was an XY card, or might have been a black and white card, I can't remember. It's very early recording this video when the Japanese set list comes out. The only problem is with this, we don't actually have Gladion or any kind of way to look into our prize cards at the moment and take a Durant out if one of Durant's is prized, and we've got no way of taking prizes, so that could be a bit of a problematic issue. And also, we don't currently have like a special charge or a way to recycle special energies very easily. There might be some Pokemon attacks that might recycle them, but as far as I'm aware, there aren't any easy ways to recycle the special energy. So I'm not overly hyped about this Durant just yet. And also ADP is around, but maybe post-rotation we get like a special charge reprint or a better way to sort of look for our prizes and maybe, you know, switch a prize card out. That would be amazing. But for the moment, Durant is probably just going to be... It's going to be in the back burner, but make sure you pick up your 4 copies of this, you know, when you get a chance, because Durant Mill, especially in combination with Cursed Shovel from Rebel Clash, when your opponent attacks into you, they discard a card as well. So theoretically, you could keep doing between like 3 and 4 discards on average for most Durants, so it could be useful. So we've got a Scatterbag of Spupa, which means there is a new Vivillon. Not very good, unfortunately. It's a beautiful artwork. I do love the artwork, but unfortunately, it's just... you know, that colourless attack, heal all of the damage from your bench Pokemon could be useful, but unfortunately it's a stage 2, so it's not going to see any play. So we've got very amusingly, we've got a Flapple V and a Flapple VMAX. This is hilarious. So Flapple V, during your opponent's next turn, it's probably it's hard to get these cards like in there with my thing at the same. Can I zoom out a little bit? Yeah, I can just about see the HP there, but that's fine. We'll deal with it the way we can. Right. During your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon's attacks cost colours more, and I actually quite like this. So let's think in the case of ADP. If you go second, you use Sour Saliva against ADP. They can't hold creation that turn. And I think it says the defending Pokemon. I think it just means like any of the Pokemon in the defending position, as opposed to on your opponent's defending Pokemon. I need to clarify this with the rule book. So I think ADP might still be able to switch out to reuse the effect, but then they need 2 switching cards as well. I need to double check that. I don't know it off the top of my head, but that could be very useful to slow down those kind of setup decks. Like imagine if you you know, use that against like Boltons. They can't use their energy setup attack. Wing attack for 120, not great, but the VMAX, I quite like the VMAX. So the VMAX for Grass, Colourless. This attack does 10 less damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon. So that's not bad. Like if you can avoid the Flapple V from getting any damage onto it, you evolve it up. Like if you're playing a Rillaboom deck, you can do 250 damage for free energy, which is not bad. I think Rillaboom VMAX still might be better as a whole because I think it's got like 10 HP more, and you know you're doing a solid like roughly like 270 if you discard all the energies. I'm not 100% sure off the top of my head. If this was like Colourless, you could see it being used as like a counter against certain decks that have grass weakness. But I just absolutely love the artwork on this. Look, just go look at me. I'm a big apple. Like I love it. It's beautiful. But yeah, Flapple VMAX. It's cool, but I don't think it will see that much play just because it's you know only 250 and you're not really one-shotting most relevant things. A new Entei. I just love the artwork on this. I'm going to be picking up quite a few copies of this maybe for grading purposes. Absolutely beautiful. Kadama, I'm not sure who the artist is. The attack's not very good. You may attach a fire energy from this Pokemon back to your hand, so you can sort of accelerate. It's only got 130 HP and it's only doing 90 damage. It's not going to see any play, but it's a beautiful Entei. Beautiful Entei. So we've got a new Emboar line. So this has actually been seen for a while. The Single Strike Emboar. So as you know, some of the Pokemon in these sets have these new Single Strike and Rapid Strike tags. They're basically like Ultra Beasts. You have certain cards that work only for Single Strike, or in the case of the other expansion, Rapid Strike Pokemon. So this is a stage 2, unfortunately. Your Single Strike Pokemon do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. I think you would only play this card if your deck already had a way of, you know, easily getting out stage 2s. So, for example, if you're playing Rare Candies already, or you had some kind of way to get out stage 2s, I can't imagine in any kind of world you would want to, if you had like a basic or a stage 1, like Urshifu VMAX based deck, that you would have any sort of reasonable way of putting in an Emboar, because it's the stage 2 and Rare Candies and stage 2 Pokemon in general are very inconsistent. So I don't like it that much, but it's nice that we got a new Emboar. That's, you know, it could see play if there is ever a stage 2 sort of heavy Single Strike deck, because you could just put it in there and, you know, you could just evolve it up, just put it as a 1/0/1 line just so you can get the extra damage every now and then. So we've got a new Salazzle. This is actually the really strong Salazzle, so I'm actually very excited about this. So this Salazzle does 90 damage for the twin energies. The first attack it just confuses, but for a twin energy, colourless, this Salazzle does 90 damage for each special condition on the active Pokemon, on the opponent's active Pokemon. So there is a Weeping Bell that poisons and burns. I believe it must be from the same set. There is a Weeping Bell that poisons and burns when you... No, it's from the other box. It's from the Rapid Strike Master. Poisons and burns when you evolve it up. So it's a stage 1 when you evolve it up, and it poisons and burns. And then if you use a Team Yell Horn, the item, that card that confuses both Pokemon. Let's say you've got a Jirachi out. You use the Team Yell Horn and then you switch into this. You evolve Weeping Bell up. You're doing 270 damage for just a twin energy. That's a lot of damage. You don't even need the Yell Horn to knock out a Zacian or any other kind of metal fire weak Pokemon, so that's also really good. And also you can use triple acceleration energy for this, unlike the Durant we looked earlier, because this is a stage 1, you can use a TAE on this as well. It might be a little bit slow for the current meta, again because of ADP and stage 1 concerns. You can easily knock out an ADP with a Galarian Zigzagoon or a Vitality Band or a Leon, and you can even... actually no, you're going to be knocking out the ADP regardless, because with a Team Yell Horn you're doing 270, but then the Poison and Burn ticks it over to 300, so you're actually knocking out ADP very easily. And then with a Leon and a Vitality Band or a Galarian Zigzagoon, you're actually one-shotting Eternatus VMAX for a twin energy, so people will play around with this. I think it has the potential to be a strong tier 2 deck, maybe tier 1 in the future once ADP rotates, but it's definitely a rogue deck to look out for, and I bet you people are already starting to test this. So we've got a new Electabuzz. This could be like this. I really like the artwork on this Electabuzz. It's one of the nicest Electabuzzes we've had. Unfortunately, like 30 damage, you can't use Big Punch for next turn. If we had still had Electro powers, that'd be quite nice, but you'd probably just rather use Zapdos. So here we go. This is an Electivire, 140. Flip a coin. If heads, this attack does 30 more damage. Meh. It's got you know, colourless requirements, so you could play it in a TAE deck just to do 90 damage from Electric Weakness sometimes. Not very good though. 180 damage, you can't use Lightning Slap next turn, which is this attack. No, it's just the energy requirements are just a bit too high. But again, I really like the artwork on the Electivire. So we've got a new Tapu Koko V and VMAX that's already been revealed. I wish these Tapu Koko V and VMAXs had like a free retreat cost, because you know the old Tapu Koko promo could retreat for free, and a lot of them actually had retreat cost of 0, so you could just retreat for free. Electro Ball, 40 damage. Meh. We haven't got Electro Power anymore. Spiral Thunder, lightning colours. This attack does 40 more damage for each energy attached to all of your opponent's Pokemon. So that's quite nice. You don't even really need to play the VMAX, and you could be doing quite a substantial bit of damage just with. Sorry, it's very early. You could be doing quite a substantial amount of damage for just, you know, this. If they got like a Cinder Scorch deck with lots of energy around, you know, 20 plus 40 for each energy in play. I could see that if we've got a deck with energy, well, most Lightning decks have like Koko Prism, maybe Energy Switch, you could sort of surprise them with the V on this, and I love the artwork as well. The VMAX, this is quite nice. It's not as good as the Alolan Raichu, I don't think. So if you have more prize cards remaining than your opponent, so if you're on 6 prizes and your opponent's taken 2 prizes, for example, you can paralyze them. So 180 in a paralysis. So that's quite nice. Unlike the Alolan Raichu tag team, you don't need to retreat to get into it. But the problem is with this is that you need to have more prizes than them. So if you're ahead in the game, then it won't work, and it's just a flat 180, which is still which is worse than the Tapu Koko V from the Sword and Shield base set. So I'm not too sure about this. It might see more play in the future once for Alolan Raichu rotates out, because also that you can use the GX on the Raichu as well to do the switch if you need to as well. It's got a bit more flexibility. Obviously it's got more HP, but the Raichu's also a basic, so then you don't have to play Pokecoms. But yeah, I'm not a massive fan of that just yet, but it could see play in the future. Right, this is very interesting. So this apart from being absolutely adorable, this Yamper has an awesome ability. That when you play this Pokemon from your hand to your bench, you can get a Pokeball and a Great Ball back from your discard pile and put it back into your hand. So there is a we're going to show you a Galarian Mr. Rhyme later that does something related to this. So we'll bear that in mind for later when we. I'm just gonna put that up here just so I can remember it for later. Yeah, and we got the Boltons. You know, this Bolton's not actually too bad either. So you can if you're playing the deck, you can just put Great Balls in the deck anyway, maybe a couple Pokeballs just so you can use the Yamper, but the Bolton's actually really quite nice. So it's got a corner attack, 30 damage. You know, they can't retreat, so that's useful. We want to stall them out for a little bit. What if they can't find a switch or an escape rope, because escape rope's being reprinted. But if this Pokemon has any damage counters on it, the attack cost for this attack is just lightning. So you're doing 130 damage just for 1 lightning energy. That could be quite nice for 2-shotting things, but you're not going to be free-shotting any VMAX. You're going to be free-shotting VMAXs, so I'm not overly excited about Boltons. Oh my goodness, we got our first ever Galarian Slowpoke card. This is absolutely beautiful. Ryota Murama done a lovely job here of Galarian Slowpoke. So it hasn't really got an overly amazing attack. Just flip a coin of heads, switch your opponent's active Pokemon with their bench, but it's just beautiful artwork. We've got a new Spoink and a new Grumpig. Again, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? There's so many good cards in this set. Oh, straight away, you know that's Kamoya. You know that artwork is Kamoya. That is beautiful. Unfortunately, the attacks are awful, but great one for the Kamoya binder. Good lord, that is beautiful. For those that don't know, Kamoya always does this weird kind of like pastel, kind of like very abstract artwork in all of his cards. It's just beautiful. I'm going to start Kamoya binder. That does it. I'm starting that binder. Power gem for 120 is not worth it. So we've got here a new Chimecho. So the old Chimecho was actually really busted. It had an ability that allowed you to stop you from playing, I think, Pokemon with abilities. You couldn't play them or something after you used the attack. It was good for stopping setup Pokemon or something like that. But this one, search your deck for up to 2 basic energy, reveal them and put it into your hand. Not very useful. And Gentle Chime. Gentle Chime's quite nice. Like, 20 damage and you put your opponent's active Pokemon asleep. It's for a colourless energy, so I highly doubt decks will do it, but it's a nice option sometimes for maybe budget decks or single prize decks, just to put a Chimecho in the deck, just to do 20 damage to help set up maybe for a 2-shot later, and you know, put the Pokemon asleep. And if they don't have a switching card in the hand, like you've reset stamped them or if you Marnied them, you've put them asleep, they might not be able to do anything for a turn, so that could be quite handy. New Esper, big shout out to Hatchy, he loves his Espers, beautiful Esper artwork there. And what does the Meowstic do? Once during your turn, you may, before you attack, you may move 1 damage counter from your Pokemon to one of your opponent's Pokemon. That's quite nice. Unfortunately, this is a stage 1, and the Psychic Sphere only does 650 damage, but you basically, each turn you've got a Meowstic up, you can just move 1 damage counter from your side to their side, so it could really help with maths. You could help against spread decks maybe. Unfortunately, it's only 1, and you'd really need to probably like put 2 or 3 Meowstics up to make sort of huge use out of this, but it's a nice little effect, and I love the artwork on this as well. I'm going to say this a lot. There's some pretty brilliant cards in this set. So Mimikyu V's already been revealed. I'm not overly excited about this, but I love this. This is such a cool, like, weird background they got going on with this. Yoshinob. So it's got the ability Dummy Doll. You may use this ability once during your turn. When you play this card from your hand onto the bench until the end of your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon. So basically what this means, you put the Mimikyu on your bench, none of your opponent's Pokemon can do any damage to this specific Pokemon. So the good thing is about that, if you've like they're on like 2 prizes or something, you've reset stamped them, you just put Mimikyu down, you put an energy on it, and you do its attack, which is just put 3 damage counters on your opponent's active prize card for each on your opponent's active for each prize card they've taken. So this could be really handy because you put the damage counters on them. Let's say you put 150 damage counters on them. If you've reset stamped them, or 120, you then set up a 2-shot for your bench Pokemon that may be damaged or it's ready to attack to knock it out. So this could be a niche like one-off in some Psychic decks, just to sort of set up just make it a wall. You know, you stamp them. You can't, because if the opponent needs 1 or 2 prizes, they're not going to take a prize because you've got the Mimikyu in the active. You know, hopefully they don't hit boss. It's a bit niche, but it's interesting. I like it. So this is the big one. We got a nice, awesome Mankey, which is a single strike card, and obviously the Primeape. So this is absolutely huge. This is one of the biggest rogue decks that people are talking about, getting excited about. I don't know how strong it will be, but it's got potential. So Field Crush, 20 damage, discard any stadium in play. This could be handy, like if they're bricking and you could just discard their Chaotic Swell, so you can put a Dojo down, but I don't think you're ever going to use Field Crush. Maybe 20 damage just to knock something out. If you're behind on prizes, you can do 60 damage for 1 energy with the Martial Arts Dojo, which is quite nice. But it's all about that Frenzy Bomb attack. Colourless, fighting, 50 damage for each of your bench Pokemon with any damage counters on it. So let's think about it. Spiritomb, it can get damage counters on itself. You've got a Donphan, which does damage to all of your bench. It's quite easy to get damage counters on your bench. It's not as easy as it used to be with like Rainbow Energies and stuff, but I could easily see this getting up to 200, 250 quite easly. Maybe not, because you need to set up Pokemon, you need like Jirachis and stuff, so I think on average you're probably only going to be doing 200, but 200 for like, for 2 energies is really good. Plus, when you're behind on prizes, Martial Arts Dojo, it's a single strike Pokemon, so it can utilize damage from the single strike special energy. I think it does an extra 20 damage with the single strike energy, so that's 240 if just 4 of your bench has it on it. Unfortunately, it won't get used for Martial Arts Dojo if you're playing Special Energy, but it's still quite nice. So it's a decent amount of damage. We've also got Escape Rope, so you can put like a Spikemuth Stadium down. So every time a Pokemon switches to the bench, it takes 20 damage, I think. So Spikemuth will damage the Pokemon, and then you can attack with the Primeape. I think it's going to be very hard to consistently get a full bench of damaged Pokemon, but I can see this easily hitting 150, 200 plus the extra damage modifiers from this, the single strike Pokemon over and over again. So I'm excited to test this Primeape. I'm not sure how viable it will be with ADP still running around, but remember that Cosmic Eclipse should rotate in August/September, so don't disregard all of these single prize Pokemon just yet, because there's a lot more. These are going to be standard legal for like 2-3 years, and ADP's going later this year. So that Alter Creation allowing them to take 2 extra prizes is very strong. So you need to bear that in mind if you're trying to focus too much on rogue decks at the moment, or single prize decks. So we've got a cool little Glysaur. Unfortunately, it's quite bad. Flip 2 coins. It does 40 damage for each hedge. 20 plus 40, 90 meh. It's a nice like nice artwork though. And we've got a new Colossal. The basics don't do much. The Colossal is quite interesting. So flip a coin for each energy attached to this Pokemon. This does 90 damage. This is 90 damage for each heads. So I believe there is a new Stage 1 Grass Pokemon. We'll look at it later. I'll put this Colossal up here later so I can see it back later. But this does 90 damage for each head, so that you can accelerate energy to the new to this Colossal and do like crazy amounts of damage with flipping coins. And you can just even stick a triple acceleration energy, or you can play this in another Colossal deck maybe and just, you know, flip free coins and do like 270. It's decent, but I think it might be a bit clunky for the current format. But I am excited to like maybe try and rogue Meme Monday or one of my rogue decks. And for 4 energy, 200 damage, 50 damage to yourself. Could be useful to finish stuff off if they don't finish you off, but yeah, I don't like that taking it that much. Another Stonjourner. So they keep printing Stonjourners that are usually really bad. What does this one do? It's a single strike card, so you can get some extra damage. You can get some bonuses from the single strike cards. If there are stadiums in play, this attack does 30 more damage. 60 damage isn't bad, but it's 2 energies. Giga Hammer for 120. Nah, it's not overly exciting. So here comes the new Urshifu V and Urshifu VMAX cards. So single strike Urshifu V is quite cool. Can we get both of them up at the same time? We can. Look at that. That's busted. So let's try and get these out of the way of my logo and stuff. Perfect. So obviously, maybe I should have gone from the trainers first, but just off the top of my head, I do know that the single strike special energy gives them an extra, so it provides dark or fighting energy, but only 1 at a time. But then you are doing 20 more damage when you're attacking with single strike Pokemon. You can only attach this to single strike Pokemon, but it's quite useful. And there are some, you know, single strike consistency cards like this Stadium, but we'll have a quick look at those cards again, just like on their own, just with the other cards we already have. So I really like the laser focus. Search your deck for up to 2 fighting energy cards and attach this to this Pokemon. If you're going second, there are only a couple of decks that can easily do 220 on the second turn. If, for example, you think about ADP, they'll be wanting to use their Alter Creations, so it's very unlikely they'll be getting a Zacian out to knock out the Urshifu. So the following turn, you can evolve it up to the Urshifu VMAX, and then you can G-Max Blow, you know, Martial Arts Dojo or the Single Strike energy to knock out the ADP for 280, 290, however much extra sort of damage you're doing, which is really cool. Impact Blow 180, that could be just handy just for finishing off and things, but the VMAX is... I don't like the Single Strike VMAX as much as the Rapid Strike VMAX, but G-Max Blow is still quite strong, 270. You know, you've got the Houndoom. There is a Single Strike Houndoom that we're going to look at in a moment that can get an energy out of your deck. Oh yeah, that's really good for the Primeape as well. The Houndoom, once during your turn, you can get a Single Strike energy out of your deck and attach it to one of your Single Strike Pokemon. It does 20 damage to it, but Urshifu's VMAX has still got 310, so it'll survive most attacks regardless. And then you're guaranteed to get the extra 20 damage, so you can do 290 against ADP on your second turn, which is quite nice. Which is, not many decks can reliably do 290 turn 2. I won't say reliably, but you just need to. If you go second, you can use laser focus, and you know you might be able to get it that way. I think that's the only way. I think you might want to go second with this, so you can use the laser focus and then evolve it up. It depends if you're going against ADP or not. You'll know in a best of 3, but these are cool. I don't think they're going to be as strong as the Rapid Strike ones, but there's going to be more, you know, fighting support, single strike support coming up. So they might see a little bit of play. And also you can play both versions, but most of the time I think you'd focus on either Rapid Strike or Single Strike. So these are really good. I really like these cards. So we've got a new Zubat, which is really cool. It's the Yarn one by Ito, very popular. Golbat, once during your turn, when you play this card to evolve a Zubat, you can draw 2 cards. So that's really good. Just a nice consistency builder. And the Crobat. So basically, these cards are all darkness types. So you can put them in Eternatus for a nice bit of extra consistency boost. alongside your Crobats. Let's say you can just play like maybe 3 Crobats and then play a thick of line of this. The good thing is they'll help fill up your bench quicker, and the Crobat has got a retreat cost of 0. So if you're playing scoop up nets anyway, you might consider putting this in your Eternatus VMAX deck. And then, you know, once the Denate rotates and Jirachi from Team Up, some decks might consider putting in like a 2/2/2 or a 3/3/3 line of this if they're playing Evolution Incense, because Pokecom rotates. It's just a nice consistency card. You can reuse them with scoop up nets. They don't die easily because they got, like, you know, you can use the level ball reprint with the Crobat as well. And yeah, I'm quite excited to try these out. They're really nice. They're really nice. They're going to be a little consistency booster. So we're back. I had to clear my throat. This is a very long set review. Hopefully we can speed up the last few cards. So we've got here a Galarian Slowbro. Unfortunately, the artwork's beautiful and it's an Arita, so that is a gorgeous Slowbro. I love that. Unfortunately, it's Frenzy Hammer. If this Pokemon is affected by a special condition, this attack does 120 more damage. Unfortunately, if it was Twin Energy, it might be okay, but just play if you're going to play a stage 1 like effect sort of special, you know what I mean. It's better just to play the Salazzle. So we've got a Murkrow, it does nothing. So we've got a nice Honchkrow. That's pretty cool. Look at me, I'm Honchkrow. A little pose. If your opponent's active Pokemon has any special energy attached to it, this attack does 80 more damage. Unfortunately, it's another really awkward energy required. Sorry, I just had to turn off my mailbox there. If your opponent's active Pokemon has any special energy, it's dark colours, so it's a bit awkward to use those that attack. So let's have a look at the Houndour actually, because we've seen the Houndoom but not the Houndour. Unfortunately, it's a bit on the plain side. It's only got 60 HP, so it's a little bit squishy. But you can still grab it with Level Ball if you're playing other single strike Pokemon. You might want to play this in the Primate deck, for example. So you can get both this and the Mankey out with Level Ball, which is quite nice. Gives a little bit more consistency, and especially if you're playing maybe like, you know, Jirachi Team Up or Jirachi from Amazing Rare. I love it. It's pulling a boulder as well, which is quite cool. But it's all about this Houndoom. So the Houndoom is absolutely filthy. Once during your turn, you may search your deck for a single strike energy, reveal it, and, you know, attach it to one of your single strike Pokemon and shuffle your deck. So if you attach an energy to this to a Pokemon like that, you put 2 damage counters on it. So as well as this is really good in the Primate deck that we talked about earlier. So you're putting the energy on the like a Mankey on the bench potentially if you've already got Primate set up or whatever. But unfortunately at the moment we've only got the 1 single strike energy card, but maybe there will be more single strike energy in the future. But it does so the energy card is a dark or colourless, and it does 20 extra damage. So the fact this is like a Malamar, but it gets it from the deck, so it's really useful. Unfortunately, you only play 4 copies of the special energy because that's as many as you're allowed to play. But for the most part, this will be alive for at least 2 or 3 turns after you use the Houndoom. So you're going to be accelerating very quickly. So you can almost guarantee getting the Primate attack off every single turn as long as you manually attach from your hand as well. So it's very strong. This will be used in pretty much every single strike deck. I don't know why they wouldn't use it in every single strike deck. And it looks like it here, because this is an English print. It looks like here that it is a rare card. So make sure when you get the pre-orders up, you know, or you get your boxes or whatever, make sure you pick up at least 2 copies of this, because I imagine you'll pull a 2/2 in every single strike deck. Just to make sure you can get it out by turn 2. You don't want to get this prize, so I think the 2/2 is very important. It's very strong. And we've got another single strike Pokemon. So here's Tyranitar. Absolutely gorgeous. You know, it's got the, you know, Tyranitar's very popular. It's nice to see a new Tyranitar card. Unfortunately, the energy requirements are a bit crap. So dark, colourless. Discard the top 4 cards of your deck. The discard's not overly important. 240 is a lot of damage, but unfortunately, it's quite hard to get that amount of energies on the Tyranitar. So that will be quite difficult, I think. Cragalanche for 60 damage. Discard the 2 cards of your opponent's deck. That's a nice little mill effect, but again, dark, colourless. I don't think you can build a deck around that. You can play it with the Hydreigon that accelerates energy, but unfortunately that is a stage 2, so it's again not very consistent. I don't know where this fits, or if it even fits at all. Even with the Houndoom getting the energies out, it's still only one energy extra per turn, so you'd have to do like, and it's a basic, so you can't even use twin energy. It's a V, you can't use twin energy. Yeah, I'm not sure about this, but it's a Houndoom and it'll be very popular amongst collectors, I'm sure. Morpeko, this is a really cool one. So this Morpeko is really cool. So it's got it's got a similar effect to Sableye. Choose an item card from your discard pile, reveal it, and put it back into your hand. So snack grab, it's called. I love it. It might be a bit slow, but sometimes it can be really useful at getting that item back, especially if you're bricking. Like if you're playing a tournament, you might consider putting one of these in just to help you unbrick yourself. And Hunger Tackle, if you have no cards in your hand, this attacks as an additional 90 damage. So I don't think you can build a deck around that because it's only 110 damage. You're not even free-shotting some VMAXs, but it could be nice because you can play it with, I think, Rose Tower, and you can, get no cards in your hand, and then next turn, you can just draw up until you got 3 again. So it could be quite a nice little attacker as well, but I'm not too sure about that. So we've got another single strike card here. First time seeing this Morwhile, and I must say it looks absolutely gorgeous. I love the artwork on this. This must be the nicest Morwhile I've seen in a while, actually. So flip a coin. If heads, your opponent active Pokemon is now paralyzed. So if you're playing a metal deck, for only 1 energy, that's actually really good. It's been a while since we've had a splashable, like a really nice bubble style attack for some decks. So you could actually, I could consider putting this in like any metal deck just as a one-off, just so you could sometimes like stall them out with paralysis, and you're doing 20 damage. That could help set up some numbers. Maybe not whilst ADP's around, but it's a nice little effect. And I don't think you're going to ever use this attack. Colours. This damage from this attack isn't affected by weakness, resistance, or other effects. Unfortunately, you can't use it on a metal weak Pokemon to do 200 damage like an ice type Pokemon with a triple accelerate or twin energy or a welder to it or something. That would have been really useful. It's just a flat 100, so I don't think you're ever going to use that attack, but that paralysis could be handy. So we've got a new Bronzong, and this one is actually really strong. So it reminds me of, I think it's the same effect as the Metal Lynx one we had ages ago. So metal transfer probably in English. As often as you like during your turn, you may move a metal energy from one of your Pokemon to another one of your Pokemon. So really useful in Turbo Zacian decks, like one gets damaged, you can move the energy onto another one. If you've got something stuck in the active, you can move energy to it and then hard retreat, or it's just a nice little handy effect to have. Unfortunately, some Zacian decks, if you're not playing Pokecoms, I'm not sure how useful this will be, because you would have to, if you're not playing Pokecoms, you would have to sort of play maybe a 2-2 line of this just to make sure you can get it out, because it's quite tricky to get out. And I think we actually still have a team-up Bronzor actually, that you can evolve on your first turn if you're going first, so that could be handy, I think. Might be. But yeah, it might see some play, but I don't know what exactly it would fit into at the moment. So we've got a new Aegislash line. So this is really cool. So this Aegislash has got stance change. Once during your turn, you may switch this Pokemon with another Aegislash card in your hand. So I think at the time of writing, there will be 3 Aegislash cards in Standard. Unfortunately, it's a Stage 2. I'm not sure how viable any of those are. Off the top of my head, I don't remember the other ones being very strong, but definitely one to look into if you like Aegislash and you like rogue decks. Oh yeah, and we got, actually there's 2 here. So we got this one. So discard 2 metal energy from this Pokemon, 210. You're not one-shotting some V Pokemon, so I'm not sure how viable that is. You can put it with Glaring Obstacle, maybe finish some stuff off. And this one has got, this one could be quite handy. So 70 damage, and you are immune, prevent all effects of damage done to this Pokemon by VMAX. So theoretically, you could attack with this, do the 70 damage, set up the maths, and well, you probably have to attack with this twice. Actually, I don't know how viable that'll be, but yeah, it could be an interesting little thing to play around with. I love the artwork on the Spearow, but look at this. I wonder what this attack does. They always put these in every so often, so it's so stupid. Like, just I bet you they're even going to make this a rare card in English. Remember, I can't remember what it was. There was a rare that had like just an attack and no effect, like just for 1 energy or something. It was so dumb. Oh man. So we got Lickitung, and we have Lickitung and Licky Licky. I love the artwork on this. Licky Licky. So Licky Licky, we still have the Licks Go Crazy one in Standard, so you could play both this and the Licks Go Crazy one in the same deck. So this one says your opponents discards the top 3 cards of their deck. Alternatively, they choose 3 cards from their hand and discard them. So this is quite interesting. You could play this effectively instead of Durant, because you're discarding 3 cards guaranteed each turn, and potentially if you reset stamp from late game, you could just, instead of choosing to discard the top 3 cards of their deck, you could just ask them to, just discard the 3 cards that you have in your hand. So that could be really good. Unfortunately, if you Marnie them, they'll probably just leave a Draw Supporter as the last card in their hand, so you really need to reset stamp them to 3 and then use Licky Licky. and the other attack is 100 damage, and you swap one of their Pokemon, so they get to choose. Not very good, but I can see some control decks might be trying this. Maybe some, you know, some kind of stall deck, some combination with the other Licky Lick. You could play 3 of the Licks Go Crazy ones, and then 1 copy of this just for late game. Reset stamp, you know, reset stamp, and then put them down to 0 card hand. That could be nice. So we got a new V Pokemon. I was not expecting to see this, Stoutland V. If the defending basic Pokemon, so just a basic Pokemon, if the defending basic Pokemon is knocked out by the damage of this Pokemon, you can take an extra prize card. So it's effectively like an ADP, but it's only on basic, and it only does 60 damage, 40 damage. You could put the powerful colourless energy on this, and I think that does an extra 20 damage. So a twin energy and a powerful colourless energy, you do 60 damage, you knock out like their Houndoom, for example, that we saw earlier, and you can take 2 prizes. So it might be useful finishing things off, maybe if you're playing Energy Acceleration already, just to take the last 2 prizes. But most of the time they'll have a Dene GX or a Crobat V on their bench, and you can just gust it up to take the last 2 prizes. And 4 colourless energies, it does 30 damage to itself. So unfortunately it doesn't seem that strong, but it's fans of Stoutland will. It's a different doggo. Fans of Stoutland will probably like this card, I'm sure. A new Dramper. Wow, it's been a while since we had one of these. So unfortunately it's not overly exciting. It's got a call for family, but unfortunately we've got one that does 3 Pokemon. So this only gets 2 out. And Spiral Rush, Colourless, flip a coin until he gets tails. It does 30 damage times the number of heads. No. It's cool though. It's cool. So trainer cards finally, and we're not even on to the other set yet. We'll try and rush through these. Escape Rope reprint, really useful. Potentially in that Spikemuth Spikemuth Primate deck that we talked about earlier, and just a nice utility card. I'm sure it will see play in some decks. It's good to have it back. Make sure you got your Reverse Holo, Escape Rope, League promos and so forth if you don't already have. So this is really cool. So I was talking earlier about running out of single strike energies. This allows you to take 2 of the single strike energies from your discard pile and shuffle them back into your deck, so it's like a special charge for single strike energy. Unfortunately we've only got 1 single strike energy, but maybe we'll get more in the future, so could be useful. Camping gear, I don't like this. Search your deck for a card and put it in your hand and shuffle your deck. This could be useful as a 4-off in stall decks, because you're ending your turn, you're hiding behind a doll or some kind of wall card, and you can just get like the card you want to set up next turn, because we don't have Steven's Resolve anymore, so it could be useful in those kind of decks. Single strike Raging Scroll, so this is a cool tool card. Single strike Pokemon can use this. Only single strike Pokemon can use it, obviously, and it's got an attack for 1 energy. This attack does 10 more damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon, so that actually could be quite useful if you're playing Guzmahala and you are in the Urshifu VMAX deck. If they don't one-shot your Urshifu VMAX, you use Guzmahala, get this tool card, and then you are doing something stupid. It depends how much damage counters are on your Pokemon, but you could do a stupid amount of damage just for 1 energy with your Urshifu VMAX if it doesn't get knocked out, which could be quite handy. EXP Share reprint, I can see this going potentially in Eternatus VMAX, Dragapult VMAX, decks that only manually attach energy one after the other just to preserve some energy. So it's a straight off reprint. So if your opponent's Pokemon is knocked out, you move the energy to the bench Pokemon that this EXP Share is attached to. So if you've got 2 XP Share on 2 different Pokemon, you can move out 2 energies down, which is really handy. So really good for Eternatus to keep streamlining the attacks. Really good for Dragapult VMAX if you're not running Energy Acceleration or Turbo Patch. And other cards will probably use it. It's good to see XP Share back. So I'm not overly a fan of this. Shuffle your hand into your deck and draw 4 cards. You get 5 cards if you do mining and you're disrupting them at the moment. But if you're only with an opponent that was knocked out during your last turn, draw 7 cards instead. So this could be quite useful. Unfortunately, unlike the Rapid Strike deck that has the Octillery, this, you got no way to search this out. So I don't know if in the future if we're ever going to get cards that can search out single strike cards. So then it'll be really useful. Like, you can just keep one of these in your single strike deck, and then if something gets knocked out, you can reuse this. If you're playing a basic like single prize deck like the Mankey, you might consider putting this instead of Marnie, because you've still got reset stamps for late game, and then if stuff's getting knocked out each turn, you can draw 7, and you're still cycling 3 with 4, which is better than nothing, I guess. So it might see play. Bruno, it's good that we finally got a card for Bruno. Bruno's a very popular gym leader. And we've got now a supporter during this turn. damage from the attacks of your VMAX Pokemon aren't affected by any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. So this is really handy as a one-off in like Dragapult. If you're coming up against a Lucario Melmetal and Zamazenta deck, you can just play this down. And you know, you can hit through the Zamazenta and then you can reuse it with the effect of the Mewtwo to pick it up and then get it back. Or in like a deck, I might put this in a bunch of VMAX decks that play Eldegoss as well, just so you can hit through like mostly Zamazenta, but there are other things potentially like Galarian and Obstagoon, or not Galarian Obstagoon, anything Decidueye can hit through Decidueye as well, so I definitely will consider this in the future for VMAX decks. Phoebe. So we got a new single strike attack. I love the artwork on this. It's an Arita! Of course I love the artwork on it. It's an Arita card. It's nice to see Arita do some, like, you know, human trainer cards. That's really cool. Normally, I don't remember seeing him do many human trainer cards. If you can only play this card if it's the last card in your hand. Search your deck for a single strike Pokemon and put it onto your bench, then draw 5 cards. So it's effectively Maxie's Hidden Ball trick, but you're searching your deck for a single strike Pokemon, and you can put it onto your bench and then draw 5. So, you know, we were talking about M-Ball earlier. That's a stage 2, you can't get it out. If you can make a deck potentially that allows you to get the M-Ball out, you know, and then you draw back to 5, that could be really cool. You could just play this in a deck, you know, just put 1 M-Ball in your deck potentially, and then, you know, potentially get it out with Mustard single strike. But it just seems a bit niche. Even in single strike decks, it might be quite hard sometimes to get your hand down to only 1 card. I don't know if it's too much play, but I like the Tower of Darkness though. So once during your turn, each player may discard a single strike card from their hand and draw 2 cards. So it's nice, a little consistency, just a nice draw too. You know, Heat Factory, Saw Play, other sort of similar draw style effects. And you know, late game, you're not going to need a whole bunch of your extra single strike Pokemon, so it could be nice, that consistency booster. I think most single strike decks will probably want to still play Martial Arts Dojo until it rotates later in the year, just for the extra damage, just to help hit those numbers. But this could be a nice consistency booster for maybe like the stage 1 and stage 2 decks, if they aren't playing Primate, which would probably be mostly, I don't know. So yeah, we're actually, if you saw, that's all of the single strike master decks. If you actually go up to the top here, you can see a little poster. So we haven't seen Galarian Surfetch single strike, and we haven't seen Lycanroc single strike, so they're probably coming in the next set, which is quite cool. So we look forward to see those. And now we've got the Rapid Strike Master, so we're going to see some cool Rapid Strike Pokemon now. Let's go and see those. So here is the busted Weeping Bell that I was talking about. So as in with the Salazzle, literally just evolve it. It poisons and burns the opponent's Pokemon. You can reuse it with Scoop Up Nets. With the Yell Horn, 270 damage, 300 when it ticks over the poison and burns. So, and it's beautiful as well. I love this artwork. So yeah, very strong. Unfortunately, the Victory Bell is not overly powerful. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused. During your opponent's next turn, this defending Pokemon can't retreat. So you might even consider, if you're playing a grass deck, you might even consider just putting in a if you're playing the Victory Bell anyway, just, you know, with Turffield Stadium, the Weeping Bell of Turffield Stadium anyway, just for the extra 30 damage each turn with the poison and burn. You could consider putting a 1-off of Victory Bell just to evolve it up, and they can't retreat. They're confused. They might not be able to attack. It could be like a nice, you know, late game option just to try and stall them out or something. But this is one of the cards I'm most excited about. Here's Cricketung V, aka Oranguru Instruct 2.0. But so this one's better. So this one says, once during your turn, you may draw cards until you have 3 cards in your hand, just like Oranguru Instruct from Sun and Moon base set. But if this is in the active spot, you may draw cards until you have 4 cards in your hand. You can't use this ability if you can't use 2 Cricketungs in the same turn, basically. So this is really good. Oranguru Instruct was super popular back in the day. It was in a lot of decks just for a nice little consistency booster. It worked alongside some other things. And this one can get you an extra card. So if you've got a U-turn board on this, it's got a retreat cost of 1. If something gets knocked out, let's say you get Reset Stamped or Marnied, just put this in the active, you know, maybe play one or 2 of the other cards in your hand and then draw until you've got 4 and then retreat into your attacker. It's really nice. Unfortunately, it's got 180 HP, so ADP can still Ultimate Ray this. But I imagine this will see play in some decks just as a nice little consistency booster, especially after we lose post-rotation, when we lose the Dene and Jirachi from Team Up, just to help dig for some cards, you know, help you get unbricked later on. And I bet you will get some kind of other sort of hand disruption effects at some point. So very useful. And yeah, so in the grass deck, X's or 80 plus, 80 damage. Flip a coin if there's 80 more. You probably won't ever attack with it, but it's a nice little consistency booster. So this was what I was talking about earlier, in combination with the Colossal that does 90 damage for each energy attached to it. So this is the Cherubi. So once during your turn, you may attach a grass energy card from your hand to one of your Pokemon. Is it a bench Pokemon? Any Pokemon, so even the active, to one of your Pokemon that isn't an EX, GX, or V. So Pokemon with a rule box, which is the box that says what the special effect of the card does if it's a GX or V or similar. So, or a Prism Star, so you can't attach it to Celebi Prism, unfortunately. But you can still attack with the Celebi Prism because you can put the energy on the Colossal and then, you know, attack with the Celebi Prism Star, which is quite nice. Sorry, not Shaming Prism Star. Shaming Prism Star. Celebi is from Lost Thunder. So yeah, it's a very nice little stage one. Unfortunately, you can't use it with any other grass Pokemon because then Rillaboom would be sort of, you know, completely useless. But I imagine someone might make a fun little rogue deck with this, going in with the Colossal 90 damage, and you can play Glimwood Tangle to reflip the effects of your attacks. You can do. There isn't like an easy way to get a bunch of grass energy out of your deck, unlike, you know, Capacious Bucket for Frostmoth decks, but. You know, maybe in the future. Like, I really like this. It's a nice little rogue decks people are going to play around with. So we've got a new Carnivine. Not overly amazing. So it's got very similar 60 damage for each head you flip 3 heads. A nice little stall. But it's a rapid strike. So maybe that could be useful in the future. Lurantis is so super pointless. It's not even a rapid strike. It should be a rapid strike. Look at the way it's attacking. 70 damage, heal 30. Meh. Tapu Bulu, the return of Tapu Bulu, everyone's favourite grass Bulu gang card thing. I'm very tired. This video has been going on for a very long time. So your opponent switches their active Pokemon with one of their bench Pokemon. Not overly exciting. Nature's Judgment is back, so that was the effect of the attack of the GX. You may discard all energy attached to this Pokemon and you can deal 80 more damage. So you can do 160 for free grass. I think there's going to be better grass attackers, but it's a nice little option, maybe as a one-off in a Rillaboom deck, just to, you know, do 160 for free energy. That's quite nice, and then they're not taking 2 prizes back. So we got Victini V and Victini VMAX. So Victini V is really cool. If your opponent's active Pokemon is a Pokemon V, it does 50 more damage. So you could 60 damage. You could use that to 2-shot stuff late game. It's quite handy for 1 energy. And then Flare Shot, discard all energy from this Pokemon 120. You probably won't use that. But the Victini VMAX is quite cool. So attach up to 3 fire energy from your discard pile to your Pokemon in any way you like. So very similar to Victini from Sword and Shield base set. So if you need to set up a Heatran on the bench, if you want to set up another fire attacker, you know, you can use this, and then it's unlikely they're going to one-shot it for 310 HP, which is quite nice. And Victory Max. If your opponent's active Pokemon is a V, this attack does 120 more damage. So for 2 energy, you are doing 220 damage, which is quite nice for a welder. That one-shots most V Pokemon that aren't VMAXs, which is quite nice. That, yeah, Urshifu V that we were showing earlier. Unfortunately, I don't know how. I think most people would just rather opt to just play the regular Victini V because it's a basic and it doesn't go up 3 prizes. But I don't know. It could see play. It's a nice card as well. There's lots of fans of Victini, especially this card in particular. This is a beautiful artwork. I'm definitely going to pick up a few copies of that. So Heatmore, Sizzlipede, nothing overly exciting there. So this is quite interesting. Flip 2 coins for each head, discarding energy attached to the opponent's active Pokemon. Unfortunately, it's a basic, so you can't use TAE, so you're going to have to welder to it, and it might be quite hard to string the attack, but could be nice for removing some energies. A new Center Scorch. We keep getting these bloody non-V Center Scorch. I think this is like the 3rd Center Scorch that we've had. That's not a VMAX, V or VMAX. So as long as this Pokemon is in play, whenever your opponent flips heads for a burn Pokemon between turns, that Pokemon remains burned. So this is quite interesting. You could even potentially stick this in the Salazzle deck, and then when they flip the coin for the burn, the Pokemon will stay burned. So you're guaranteed to get an extra 20 damage if they stay in the active, like a VMAX, and they don't want It forces them to swap out. You're never going to use the second attack. It just does 130 damage for 4 energy and it burns them. But that might be quite nice if you build a deck around like burning them, like Weeping Bell potentially or Salazzle. So Smokescreen, this is quite a nice little one-off. It's beautiful artwork. I love this. It's gorgeous. It's amazing. I love the scale on this. That's a beautiful card. That is a mini work of art on its own. Well done and a CQ dynamic. So it's like a bubble. If your defending Pokemon attacks during your next turn, this does nothing. So, and it affects their defending Pokemon. So you could put this as a one-off in any water deck just to maybe stall out for a turn potentially. So, a new Kingdra. Obviously, the horse here has to be new Kingdra. Lord of the Ocean Depths. I really like the artwork on this. When your active Pokemon is knocked out by a damage of your opponent's attack, you may choose any number of water energy attached to that Pokemon and move them to this Pokemon. Ooh! So that's really nice. So it's unfortunately it's a stage 2. Probably won't see any play for that reason, but it's like a big EXP share or a wishful baton. If your Lapras VMAX, for example, has like 7 water energy on it, you can move all of the water energy from it onto the Kingdra, and then it does 40 damage times the amount of water energy attached to it, which is quite chunky. Unfortunately, it's a stage 2. You might consider maybe a 1-1-1 in a Lapras VMAX deck. So if you're running Pokecoms or Evo Incense anyway, just slowly set this up, and then late game, you've got a really nice big single prize attacker potentially, because it's you're keeping all of the water energy. But yeah, that's quite nice. I like that Kingdra. It's stage 2 though. I don't know if you can build a deck around that one. So here is the Galarian Mr. Rhyme that works really, really, really well with the Yamper that gets a Pokeball and a Great Ball back from your discard pile and puts them back into your hand. So this Galarian Mr. Rhyme, you may discard any number of item cards from your hand that have the word ball in it, and then you do 10 plus 40 more damage for every card you discard that way. So in standard we've got Level Ball, we've got Pokeball. Well, when this comes out we'll have Level Ball, Pokeball, Great Ball and Quick Ball. So that's 4 theoretically, because the Galarian Mr. Rhyme is only 80 HP and the Yamper, and obviously you can definitely use Level Ball. So you've got 4, 8, 12, 16 ball item cards that you can use, and having all those ball cards, I'm going to say the word ball a lot, having all those ball cards in your deck will mean that your deck's just going to be super consistent, and you're going to put a bunch of Pokemon in there, so the Great Ball should always hit. You can just flip the Pokeballs to set up early if you need to, and you've got the Yamper to get them back, and you can reuse it with Scoop Up Nets. So I am actually genuinely excited to test this out, especially if Cinder Scorch, VMAX remains strong. You're going to be hitting for water weakness. This has got a metal. It's only got 110 HP, so you don't really care about Zacian or any metal decks. And yeah, I think there's one more ball card somewhere that I can't remember exactly where it is, but I think there's one more other thing. And you got, I believe, Ball Guy, which is the supporter card, allows you to search your deck for 2 or 3 ball cards and add them to your hands. So yeah, very excited to try this Galarian Mr. Rhyme. It seems interesting. It could be a solid tier 2 rogue deck, because you've got a potential to even one-shot ADP with I don't know how many ball cards you need in your hand, but you've got a potential to one-shot ADP as well. And you could also obviously increase the damage with a Galarian Obstagoon, and you're playing Scoop Up Nets anyway. Do a bit more damage with the pings as well, the goons. Vitality Band as well. And yeah, and because you're playing so many item cards, you could easily put in the line of the Crobat, Golbat we saw earlier to draw more cards, and then you could even use Leon to do 30 more damage. So we've got Remoraid. The Remoray's not overly exciting. Beautiful artwork though. You can actually see a little Octillery like in the back there chilling, which is awesome. But the Octillery is absolutely busted. It's going to be a 2-2, maybe even a 3-3 in every Rapid Strike deck. Once during your turn, you may search your deck for a Rapid Strike card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. You can't use more than one Rapid Strike search ability each turn. So this is absolutely filthy. You can use this to get the VMAXs, the double strike rapid energy that we're going to show you later, support cards, the Pokemon, literally everything. This reminds me of a super busted Octillery we had before that let you draw up to have 5. That saw a lot of play. This is going to see play in every single Rapid Strike deck. It's a rare, so I'm hopeful that they also make this a pre-release promo card in the Build and Battle boxes, along with the Houndoom that's going to be in every single Strike deck. So it's just a super consistency card, and yeah, I'm very, very excited for this Octillery. The Rapid Strike decks would not be anywhere near as viable without Octillery. It's super powerful, probably top 5 cards in the set easily. Got a Crawdont, not overly exciting. Discard a card from your opponent's hand without looking. 149, no. So this is quite interesting. This is Empoleon V. So, oh yeah, it's also worth to remember that there's also special arts of Tyranitar and Empoleon coming. So these are absolutely beautiful. You can see more single strike and rapid strike Pokemon in there. Look at the Phalanx. Like, these are absolutely gorgeous. These are both going to be in single strike and rapid strike master. If you want to pre-order your booster boxes from the Japanese sets, click the link in the description. Go to the PlaySkape Games website. Go to the Japanese area. Beautiful cards. They're going to be super popular amongst collectors, and I don't know about players, but very strong cards. Along with that Urshifu card that we're going to see in a bit. So yeah, Empoleon V. As long as this Pokemon is in the active spot, your opponent's basic Pokemon in play have no abilities except for V and GX Pokemon. So rule boxes, EX, etc, etc. So this stops things like Galarian Obstagoon. This stops things like Jirachi. You know, basic Pokemon like Octillery. This will stop Octillery. Things that have an ability. So unfortunately, you're only doing 130 damage. But if you're playing against a single, like let's say you're playing against the Primate deck, for example, you can stop them from, you know, using their abilities to set up. You know, you just bench this. They can't use their, you know, they can't use their Jirachi and their other abilities. They can't power up their Spiritombs. And 130 damage is quite reasonable. Unfortunately, it's going to be quite hard to get 130 damage down quite quickly without the use of Frostmoth, but I'm not sure exactly where this Empoleon fits just yet. But it seems that ability is too strong to pass up. Maybe you could just put it as a one-off in any Rapid Strike deck just to, you know, just leave it in the active and just for setup purposes. I don't know. So we got a Jellicent and a Frillish. Don't see these very often. Again, a Kamoya, absolutely got the guy back, the little man in the boat, like the tormented guy that was tormented by the Shedinja, and the yeah, that's beautiful. So this does 10 damage times the amount of water energy in your discard pile. So not very good. If it was 20 times, you could be doing a reasonable amount of damage. Not good for 1 energy though. Not good for 10 damage. I don't even know you can build a deck around this. Theoretically, if you can get 30 water energy in your discard pile, you could do 300 damage for 2 energy, but I don't know if that's viable. Broxis is back, everyone's most hated fish from the Sun and Moon pre-release. No, it's bad again. So we got, finally we can see what the Rapid Strike, Luxray and Luxio and Shinx do. So we'll have a quick look at these. So you can hit it with Level Ball, beautiful card. We actually have a Shinx that is standard legal for a few more months, that allows you to evolve on your first turn. If you're going first, I believe, or I think you can just evolve on your first turn regardless. You can evolve it up to Luxio. Unfortunately, it's not a single strike, but because it's the basic, you'd probably want to play the other Shinx. And what does this one do? This one does 30 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon, so it could be useful for a snipe for 1 energy. And the Luxray, it's all about the Luxray. This attack does 40 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon, and then switch this with one of your bench Pokemon. So you could put down Pokédolls. This is a really nice hit and run. You could put down Pokédolls, and then like do 40 damage, and then, you know, hit and run into something, which is quite nice. And if your opponent's active Pokemon need damage counters on it, this does 100 more damage. So you're doing 200 damage, which is not bad for a stage 2, and it's not the worst stage 2, because, like I said, you've got that Shinx that allows you to evolve up to Luxio on your first turn, which is really cool. And the artwork's gorgeous on this. Rapid Strike as well. You can use your Octilleries to get your Luxrays out super quickly, and you could even put in like one-off of the Luxio that does the item lock, and also you can play, you know, 2-2 split of this Luxray and the other Luxray that does quite a decent amount of damage off the top of my head. So yeah, might be a fun little rogue deck. I'm not sure though. I need to look at the other Luxray and spend a bit more time thinking about that. Pachirisu is back. It's just Find a Friend but for 1 card. It's beautiful artwork but not good. Claydol. So Claydol is actually quite decent. So Power Split. Attach Psychic Energy from your discard pile to your Pokemon in any way you like. So on your bench or the active. And it attached to... So the amount of Psychic Energy to get out of your discard pile is equal to the amount of energy cards on this Claydol. So let's say, for example, you put a triple Acceleration Energy on it. You get 3 Psychic Energies out of your discard pile, and you can attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like, which is quite nice. I think because it's a stage 1 and you need Psychic Energy and you need to play triple Acceleration for for this. For the moment, that Rotom that gets 2 Psychic Energies, I believe, out of your deck, or I can't remember, out of your deck or your discard, will be better than this Claydol for now. But it's quite a nice little option for late game in a Psychic deck, like maybe Dragapult, just to accelerate energy. You know, you just put a 1/1 of this in Dragapult, you just put this out. But you're not playing triple acceleration in Dragapult. It's probably not in Dragapult, but it's a fun little card, and I think people might play around with it. So this really surprised me to see this. Necrozma V. Very excited to see Necrozma V. First Necrozma card in the Sword and Shield era, I believe. So Prism Ray. This attack does 20 damage to 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So 20 to the active, and then 20 to 2 bench Pokemon. If you play a Galarian Zigzagoon, you can also use the 10 damage to finish off Pokédolls on the bench, which is quite nice. I might put a 1-off of this in Dragapult. I'm not going to ever use the second attack, but just to do, you know, some spread damage to potentially finish off like stall decks or ping stuff on the bench, or, you know, it seems like a nice little option. Special Laser, if this Pokemon has any special energy attached to it, you can do 120 more damage. So 220 for 3 energy is not bad for a regular V Pokemon. Unfortunately, we haven't got any reliable way to accelerate energy. You've got that Claydol, but no, I think it's a bit slow. But 220, it's not bad, because you're going to be using horror energies. You know, you can use recycle energy and other ones to recycle this. Okay, so we're back. I had to answer the postman. This video is just crazy long. So the Orbeetle is actually quite strong, and I actually really like the Dotlet. So if you need to use it, you look at the top 4 cards and you can return them in any order. So that could be useful for unbricking yourself. But it's all about the Orbeetle. So for each energy attached to this Pokemon, you may search your deck for a Stage 2 Pokemon and then put it onto your bench and shuffle your deck. So that's actually really busted. So if you have a triple acceleration energy, you stick it on Orbeetle, you can find 3 Stage 2 Pokemon. Let's say Galarian Obstagoon, Decidueye, or what I don't know what the deck it exactly fit into now. But, you know, Cinderace maybe. If you're playing Welder, you don't even need to play Triple Acceleration. You just weld it to this and you get 3 Cinderace out. I don't know exactly what deck this is going to go into, but I think someone's going to break this at some point. Maybe we get like a control deck that that relies on, you know, like a really chunky Stage 2 that has like a wall effect or something, or a hit and run, or maybe like the Luxray, probably not the Luxray, but like some kind of control deck that you can utilize this. I'm not sure post rotation, after Welder triple acceleration rotating, how viable this is. You can still, like, for turn 1 just put a basic energy on it, turn 2 put a twin energy on it, and then you're still getting 3 Stage 2s out onto your bench. But yeah, I really like this Orbeetle. I just don't know what exactly it's going to go into straight away. So a new Onyx card, so there'll be new Steelix. Let's always look at Onyx. Beautiful artwork there. Cubone, it's adorable. New adorable Cubone. Always love Cubone. Marowak, bone armor, reduced attacks by 30. Meh. Boomerang, 2 coins, 90 times. Meh. Ooh, there's a new Conkeldurr. I haven't seen this in a while. So, because you always see bloody Timber and Girder like around a lot in like the video games. They often seem to pop up quite a lot, but don't often see Conkeldurr cards. Unfortunately, it's just one of these massive energy requirement style cards that just doesn't do too much. 90 damage. If the defending Pokemon is an evolved Pokemon, it can't attack during your next turn. So it might be good for slowing down VMAX decks, but it's fighting colours, and it's not even a single strike or a rapid strike card, so not a fan of that. So this is really cool. So this could be the new hit and run deck actually. So rapid strike Mienshao. So your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused. You then shuffle the Mienshao. I've never pronounced that card before. Mienshao into your deck, and then, you know, and all the cards attached to it. So you can use the Octillery to get your either your Mienshao or your Twin Energy, the Rapid Strike Energy, Double Strike Energy card. So you do your 90 damage, you confuse your Pokemon, you shuffle it into your deck, and then you put out a Pokédoll or some kind of walling card. You probably play 4 Pokédolls in this deck. So that could be really strong. I'm not sure if it's better at the moment than Beheeyem, which does which turns off item lock, but it'll probably be a lot more consistent because you've got the Octillery to get the Rapid Strike cards out. So it might be a more consistent version. Confusing is nice, but I think I like item locking more, especially against things like Baby Blounds and stuff. But we'll have to see. It's definitely one to keep an eye on, that Mienshao. So we got a new Sander Cobra. Discard 6 cards from the top of your deck. This attack does 60 damage for each fighting energy you discarded in this way. So you can guarantee 1 fighting energy at least by using Oranguru to put fighting energy on top of the deck. Someone will come up with some kind of crazy rogue sort of deck for this. It probably won't be very strong, but if you end up putting like, I don't know, 30, 35 fighting energies in your deck, you could do, you know, quite often on 180 damage for 1 fighting energy, and then you got your damage modifiers and stuff. That could be quite a funky little card, and very similar to the Gyarados from Team Up. So Phalanx, Rapid Strike Phalanx. So this is beautiful artwork. Everyone loves Phalanx. This attack does 20 damage for each of your Rapid Strike Pokemon in play. So this is quite nice. You could use this, you could probably put this in any Rapid Strike deck, because you've got your Octillery for consistency to get your, you know, Rapid Strike. You might not, you can actually probably play a deck that uses only Rapid Strike cards. No Dedenes, no, you know, no Crobats and stuff, because literally you've got your Octillery. You can just get multiple Rapid Strike cards out and set up. So there are Rapid Strike supporters, stadiums, and, you know, that we're going to look at later. But just for, you know, if you have a full bench plus this in the active, you can do 120 for, you know, 1 Rapid Strike energy, which could be just a nice way to finish things off. I think it'll be fine as a one-off in a Rapid Strike deck. I don't think you can build a whole deck around it, but you could also potentially put in some Phalanx Veem. I don't know, you won't ignore the other Phalanx deck. This is a card that you play on its own, but yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. You know, 120 damage plus your damage modifiers could be nice. So this is probably the strongest V in VMAX in the set, I think. Urshifu V and Urshifu VMAX Rapid Strike. So Strafe, 30 damage. You can switch this Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon, which is good because you need to attach the energy to it anyway. So because you need to get ready for the bigger attacks for the VMAX when you evolve it. So you can just hit it and then just put out a single prize Pokemon or a Pokédoll if you're playing dolls as well. Gale Thrust. If this Pokemon moves from a bench to the active spot, this does 120 more damage. So that's 150 damage for 1 energy, which is very similar to Goliathopod, the, you know, first impression. But damage modifiers, martial arts dojo, other rapid strike style effects that you could be doing, that could be quite nice. 150 damage for 1 energy is those kind of, you know, first impression style attacks have always been quite powerful in the past and have seen quite a bit of play. And then G-Max Rapid Flow. Discard all energy from this Pokemon. This attack does 120 damage to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. So that's really, really, really good against single prize decks. Mad Party, you know, just set up decks like we were talking earlier about Primate. That would be so busted against Primate. But you could use this to knock out 2 Octilleries on, you know, if you're playing against other Rapid Strike decks. And it's really easy to set up because you turn 1, you attach the energy to Rapid Strike Urshifu VV. Turn 2, you use the Octillery to get out your double. I'll show you guys the energy again very quickly. The double strike, rapid strike energy. So it provides water and fighting energy, but only, you know, water or fighting, not both. But the 2 energies. It's a double colours for rapid strike Pokemon basically, and it provides it. It's really, really strong, and yeah, you can. It's just very handy. And then later on, you can also potentially use for the VMAX. You could potentially use this. It's like the same as a tool card for you know, fighting colours, 30 damage to all of your opponent's Pokemon. So you could use like the 120s and, you know, Glaring Ping. You could even end up knocking out 2 Dedenes on their bench theoretically, like if you know, set it up properly. So yeah, I'm very excited to test this. Most of the time with like damage modifiers, you should be 2-shotting most VMAX Pokemon. With the Gale Frost, obviously, you know, with a dojo, you're behind on prizes, you'll be 1-shotting Eternatus VMAX, so it's obviously it's fighting decks, so it should be strong against Eternatus and stuff. You're 1-shotting Pikarom, Bolton V, you know, it's very strong first attack for that. And, you know, you can just, this has got a retreat cost of 2, so you can put air balloons in this deck, absolutely fine. Even this one's got a retreat cost of 2, so you can even retreat it out, you know, hard retreat it out into another Urshifu VMAX, and it's got HP of 330. It's very tanky. Not very many things are going to one-shot this. You know, it's good against single prize Pokemon because of the G-Max Rapid Flow. I'm very, very, very excited to test out Urshifu VMAX. This might be the strongest, like, completely new archetype from the set, but we'll have to wait and see, Hammer. Octillery obviously makes this super consistent as well, getting out your energies, you know, getting out those other tool cards and those other things that we're going to look at later. Yeah, I'm just excited to try Urshifu Rapid Style VMAX. I'm not sure exactly what shape the deck's going to take yet, but maybe when Japan has some deck profiles of this when it releases next Friday, then I can show you, show you the decks, which is really cool that they're playing. So nice Steelix card, very popular, but unfortunately it's only 200 damage for 5 energies, or flip 2 coins, 80 damage times the amount of heads. Bisharp. I don't even know why they printed this. My opponent's active Pokemon is a metal type. You can do 180 damage. Why? So I was not expecting this. We've got a Corviknight V and a Corviknight VMAX. So this is quite funky. So this isn't that great. The V's not that amazing. So the defending Pokemon can't retreat. So it could be nice for like stalling them out for a little bit, slowing them down whilst you set up. They can't retreat. You maybe marding them or you reset stamp them. I don't know. 210 HP is also not overly tanky for a V Pokemon, but and 190 damage. It can't use Sky Hurricane during the next turn, so not bad for metal sources and stuff. But the VMAX, it's where it's at. This is actually quite a nice card. So prevent all effects of your opponent's abilities done to this Pokemon. So Galarian Obstagoon can't do anything to it. If anyone's playing like the Flapple, any kind of spread attacks with abilities, I can't really think of many. Oh, so if you're playing Coating Metal Energy, Giratina can't remove special energy from this, so it helps you against the fire decks. Like it helps you against Super be very strong against Center Scorch. And yeah, so for free energy, this Pokemon can't use G-Max Hurricane during the next turn. So that 240 is actually super important, because that means that it can one-shot pretty much every single Pokemon V, apart from like Wailord V or stuff that might have a big charm on it. It can pretty much one-shot any single Pokemon V, and yeah, it's very easy to power up with metal sources. And maybe you could even put this as a 1/1 or a 2/2 in an AEP deck, and maybe play this instead. You can still probably put one Zacian in for turn 1 Intrepid Sword, but this might be quite handy. You have 320. It's very very tanky, and it's got a retreat cost of 0. So you could even just put it as a 1/1 in any kind of metal deck, and just as you can just use it for the pivot to retreat for free. I kind of like Corviknight VMAX. I'm not as excited as I am with the Urshifu Rapid Strike VMAX and some of the other cards we talked about earlier, but I would say it's probably in the top 10 like cards from this set. I think this will see play in some capacity. It's a lot better than Copperaja VMAX, and it's a lot better than Aegislash VMAX, definitely. Just doing 220, 240 reliable over and over again is quite nice, and just having a little bonus of Pokemon's abilities not being able to affect it, that could be really useful as well, especially if more abilities come out in the future. Weeping Bell can't poison and burn this, so Salazzle is only doing a maximum of 180 with the weakness with the Team Yell horn. So yeah, that's really cool. I'm excited to maybe play around with this in some metal decks. So Perugly, kind of a bad card. It's got Cataday though, so if you have the Persian from Gathering of Cats from Unbroken Bonds, you can do 120 damage for 0 energy if you have the Persian. Out, which is quite nice. It's got the Cataday attack, so Cataday is back in some capacity. 120 is not too bad if you put a powerful colourless energy. 140 for 1 energy. It's not bad, not bad. Bouffalant, this Pokemon does an additional 60 damage to your opponent's grass Pokemon, so yay. And it heals 30 damage to itself. It's nice artwork, indeedy, not overly powerful. 10 damage times the amount of cards in your hands, so you're not going to be doing much more than probably like 60, 70 if you're lucky. So we got item and tool cards finally. We're near the end, so thank you for sticking with me. So another cool tool card. It's a Rapid Strike item, so this is actually really really good, guys. So if you're playing Octillery, you're going to be playing at least one of these, maybe 2 in some decks. You return a special energy attached to one of your opponent's Pokemon to the bottom of their deck. So obviously it's not as good as a Crushing Hammer, but because you've got the Octillery, why don't you put at least 1 copy of this in your deck? Removes the Rapid Strike energy, Single Strike energies. Pikarom is playing Flash Speed energy. Eternatus is playing Hiding energy, Coating Metal energy, and metal decks. Like, why not play this? This is super strong. This just makes me like the Urshifu VMAX Octillery deck like a lot more than I already did. Energy Recycler's back. So off the top of my head, apart from maybe Charizard from Team Up, the one that you take energies out of your deck and then you do more damage times the amount of energy on Charizard, I'm not 100% sure straight away what decks in Standard that have been played a lot at the moment would want to utilise this. I guess this could be quite handy in fire decks that play Giant Half, just to put energies back in, but I think 9 out of 10 times you'd rather just play Fire Crystal. So yeah, but it's nice to have energy recycler back, and they've also, you can see the fairy energy's gone as well. So rip fairy energy, and where's I don't see metal energy. It's literally just well, it's not even got psychic energy there. It's not even showing the OG. Like if you put psychic energy on there, the OG cards are there. That's quite a fun little Easter egg. Like you got all of the basic energies apart from psychic energy from the original base set. And here is the big one. It was in the preview. You know it's coming. Level ball. A lot of the Pokemon that we talked about today, the stage, some of the basics and some of the stage 1s from the stage 2 decks have 90 or less HP. So you search a deck for Pokemon 90 HP, reveal it and put it into your hand. This came out in Ancient Origins and I believe one of the black and white sets, so you can go now. I've already picked up a whole bunch of level balls. You can go now, get some Ancient Origins or some older level balls, pick them up, get yourself ready. You know, you can use them in decks because they have exactly the same card text. And I'm very, very excited for level ball. Off the top of my head, this in existing decks, this is really good in Mad Party, in any decks that play stage 2, like stage 2 cards. So you could definitely play this in like Galarian, in the Goons Owls deck to get your Rowlets and stuff out, and your Dartrixers and, you know, Galarian Linoons and stuff. Like any stage, this will make stage 2 decks a little bit more consistent, definitely, just for setting up, because you just put 4 of these and you get your basics out and stuff easier. Aside from Mad Party, I don't know any like sort of tier 1/2 decks. Mad Party's not tier 1. Any tier 2 or tier 1 decks that can like really utilize this like super well straight off the bat, because ADP is still very strong and you know, Alt Creation wrecks a lot of these stage 1 and stage 2 decks. But the Baby Cinderace deck that does 160 or 180 over and over again with the Libero and, you know, reuses the energy. You definitely put 4 of those in there to help set up. It's just great to have level ball back because, you know, again, I keep mentioning ADP a lot, but once ADP rotates, there is going to be a whole ton more single prize basic, you know, stage 1, stage 2 decks. So make sure you get your level balls. There's probably going to be a golden level ball in this set as well, so I might have to pick up 4 of those, because if level ball gets reprinted twice, like there's probably a good chance it'll get reprinted 3 or 4 times in the future. But yeah, I'm very excited for level ball to come back. Definitely, you know, the best item probably in the set. So Tool Jam, I'm not overly excited by this. If it's attached, it's a tool card, and as long as this Pokemon is attached to tool cards in the active, all tool cards don't have any effect. I think so. If only when your Pokemon is in the active does Tool Jammer have an effect, and I think most of the time you'd rather just play Tool Scrapper because you can just play it straight away. You can't play any other tool cards. You can't put an Air Balloon or like Buff Padding or Big Charm on your Pokemon if the Tool Jammer's on it. And I don't think Tool Card. I mean, this is like this is a soft counter to. I mean, if you're worried about Whimsicott in Standard at any point over the next few months, put a Tool Jammer in there and just beat Whimsicott, because they can't. Unless they become bosses orders every turn, they can't use their tool cards. So, wait, no, actually, that's not true, because the tool cards have no effect, but then they can't reuse their U-turn boards. So, yeah, yeah, I'm not overly excited about Tool Jammer. So just play Tool Scrapper for the moment. Maybe more stuff in the future could be useful for it. So we talked about this. All of your Rapid Strike Pokemon have the attack when you attach this tool card to them, that they can do 30 damage to all of them, all of your opponent's Pokemon. So this is really good for that Urshifu VMAX potentially as a one-off if you're playing Guzmahala, because you might play, because you need to switch out to keep hitting from the bench to the active. You definitely want to play like 1 or 2 Mallow and Lana, and also help against two-shotting the Urshifu VMAX, because it's got 330 HP. So with Mallow and Lana, a lot of things from two-shotting you would end up three-shotting you if you can heal 120 damage, and you can put 1 copy of Cynthia and Caitlyn, 1 to 2 copies of Guzmahala. You can put this tool card in one of the new stadiums or martial arts dojo, and the Rapid Strike energy counts as a special energy, so you can get the Rapid Strike energy out of Guzmahala. So I can see this just being a one-off in the Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX deck, maybe some other Rapid Strike decks in the future, because it's quite easy to get free energies on that with the double colourless, with the Rapid Strike energy, and just using 30 damage to finish off. You know, if they're playing Pokédoll decks, you just wreck them. You just get rid of all their dolls, or you know, you do, like I said earlier, you do 120 to 2 like the Denes. You use Galarian Zigzagoon Scoop Up Net twice, or just 2 Goons Ping, and then you finish this off with this. You know, you get 4 prizes. So it definitely has potential, and I'm definitely going to keep one of this. I'm going to be playing a tag called Urshifu VMAX deck, and be playing like one of this just as a nice little option. So Karina's motivation. It's nice to see Karina get another card. It's not as powerful as the old Karina card, unfortunately, but You draw cards until you have 6 cards in your hand, but it is a Rapid Strike card, so you keep an Octillery on your bench at any point during your game. You can just Octillery for Karina and draw 6 cards. So absolutely, maybe a 1-off, maybe a 2-off in every Rapid Strike deck, just because of the Octillery being busted, just because it's got the Rapid Strike tag, and you can, you know, draw yourself out of trouble. You just draw until you've got 6 cards in your hand. So very, very good in those decks. Not good in any other decks. Mustard. So we got a Mustard for Rapid Strike. So again, it's like Archie's Ace in the Hole, but for a Rapid Strike Pokemon. You can only play this if it's the last card in your hand. You put a Rapid Strike card from your discard pile, in this case, Rapid Strike card from your discard pile, onto your bench and draw 5 cards. So if you're playing, you could potentially like put a one off of Luxray, maybe to get the Luxray. I don't know exactly what you'd want to get in terms of a Rapid Strike card. But again, because it's a Rapid Strike card, you can just put 1 copy of this in your deck, and, you know, use Octillery instead of. So maybe you'd play this in this and 1 copy of this and 1 copy of Karina, just again, so you can use Octillery. You can, you know, discard. You can draw 5 cards, and you can get any Rapid Strike card that's just been knocked out, like a stage 1. You can just get an Urshifu VMAX straight back. So I might play this as a 1-off in the Rapid Strike decks. I don't think you can build a deck around this, because I don't think there's any the stage 2 cards are that powerful yet for the Rapid Strike. But yeah, I'm very excited to play around with that as well. Cheryl, so this is quite interesting. Heal all damage from your evolution Pokemon, then discard all energy attached to this Pokemon you heal this way. So a lot of the time for VMAX decks, you have to kind of hard retreat to sort of stop something being 2-shotted, so you might as well just heal all the damage off it. And, you know, we're probably going to wait for a clarification from this, a rule clarification, but as far as I'm aware, you don't need to have any energy attached to the Pokemon to heal it up. It just says heal all damage from each of your evolution Pokemon, full stop. Then discard all energy attached to the Pokemon this way. So if you have evolution Pokemon on your bench that are like even Octilleries that are taking spread damage, any Pokemon on your bench that are taking spread damage, you might as well just, you know, play Cheryl just to heal that. You know, they're not going to discard any energies. You know, I can see this being quite useful in some decks. I might keep this as a 1-off in any decks that play any VMAX decks that have a way of getting that have any VMAX decks that have any way of getting supporters back. So either an Eldegoss or the Mewtwo from Unbroken Bonds in the case of the Dragapult VMAX deck. It's quite a nice little card. You'll definitely see some play in some capacity, I think. So here is the stadium cards. So this isn't as so this actually might be okay. So the retreat cost of your Rapid Strike Pokemon, of all Rapid Strike Pokemon in play, is colorless. So your Urshifu VMAX or your Urshifu V can retreat for free. So this is really useful if you don't have the switching card in your hand to retreat active and stuff. And again, because Octillery is just so good, guys. Octillery is probably okay, I'm going to say it now. Octillery is the best card in the set. Octillery just allows you to. You can just put one copy of this. The best new card in the set. Obviously, Level Ball is very strong, but you can just put 1 copy of this in your deck, and you know you don't need to focus that much on stadiums. But because you're Octillery, if your Rapid Strike Pokemon is stuck in the active and you need to switch to re-attack with the Urshifu VMAX, you can just use Octillery, get this, put the stadium down, maybe counter their stadium. You'd probably put one of them anyway, just to count as a nice counter stadium, like against Giant Half and decks that rely on their stadiums, and then just retreat into the other Urshifu. So yeah, very nice little stadium. Definitely a 1-off or maybe a 2-off in the Urshifu VMAX deck, because I don't know if there's any other better stadiums they can really utilise. Martial Arts Dojo, you can still use Martial Arts Dojo. So maybe this is just a 1-off, and you might focus on your yeah, I don't know. And last but not least, the Rapid Strike Energy. We talked about it earlier. It provides 2 energy. It's a special energy, and Octillery can search it out. It's absolutely filthy. It can provide water fighting, water, or fighting water. But only to Rapid Strike Pokemon, so it's not even a colourless energy to any other Pokemon, but you're only going to use Rapid Strike Pokemon to attack with in the Rapid Strike deck, so very strong, definitely a 4-off, and very excited to get this. This is also in the Rapid Strike Urshifu V, and also the Single Strike energy is in the Single Strike Urshifu V collection boxes that are coming out at the same time. So if you click the link in the description, go to the PlaySkape website, go to the Battle Styles pre-order page, you can actually see Urshifu V and Urshifu Rapid Strike Single Strike collection boxes up for pre-order. But that's the set list. I'm sorry this took so long, but there was a lot of cards to get through, and I really wanted to give like all of the good cards a little breakdown, you know, talk a bit more about that. It's as a whole, it's so much better than Vivid Voltage. I might even say because of how powerful Octillery is, and just because of the new engines in the deck, like you've got some really nice rogue decks. You've got the Galarian Mr. Rhyme. This coin flip deck potentially could be the best coin flip deck we have with the, you know, in combination with the Cherim. The single strike one might be good, but I much prefer the rapid strike one for now. I think, you know, the Golbat could be a nice little consistency engine for some decks. There's a lot of good cards in here, and I'm very much excited to pick up these cards when they come out in English in Battle Stars. We're going to be testing this on our Twitch stream, twitch.tv/PlaySkape Games, when it comes out in March 19th, I want to say. And yeah, you can pre-order your booster boxes and stuff for both the Japanese and the English set right now on our website. And another quick look at something else. So there's also going to be a bunch of deck boxes and sleeves coming out at the same time from the Pokemon Japan website. If anyone's super desperate for these, I might be able to order some, but I absolutely love this deck box. I'm definitely going to pick up this deck box. It'd be absolutely beautiful. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, you know, this PlaySkape Games video. You know, what do you think about Rapid Strike and Single Strike Master, the Japanese sets? Are you excited to test any of these decks in the standard format when they come out in Battle Styles? I'd love to know your thoughts. Or by the way, a quick reminder, these cards aren't guaranteed to come out in Battle Styles, but there's a 99% chance that most of them, apart from the few that get made into promo cards, will be in the Battle Styles English deck. So yeah, please remember to hit that subscribe button, leave a comment below, like the video. It really helps with the YouTube videos, the algorithm. And yes, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon, Pokemon fans. Gotta catch them all. Thank you very much for watching. Remember, when we get to 2,000 subscribers, we're going to be giving away this beautiful Champions Path Elite Trainer box to one of you lucky subscribers. All you have to do is subscribe to the channel, keep supporting us, and one of you lucky people can win this amazing Elite Trainer box with the Charizard V promo card in it. Thank you very much, and I'll see you soon, Pokemon fans. Gotta catch more.